Welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 hit games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 268. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, we have a team dig from Dookie and Christian Topnik. DOSGAMES /arcade /cryptom2 or cryptom2 or wait a minute. Probably has more to do with like crypts and tombs or something like that. Then again, it says crypto right there. But then again, what's it doing in the arcade folder? Because if it was a cryptography game, wouldn't that be more like a puzzle thing or something? I don't know. We do have a readme though, so edit readme.doc. What have we got? Cryptomania. Okay, so it's not crypts and tombs. Version 2.0. Cryptomania is a game of cryptograms on disk. Cryptograms are sentences or phrases written in code, one letter substituted for another. Your job is to decipher the code and reveal the phrase. So we've seen programs like this a few times, and there was also the time it showed up in Covert Action, which is a game I covered a long time ago on Ancient DOSGAMES. So, registration fee, $15. Simply start the game with the word crypto. Because yeah, there was a point in time when the word crypto wasn't as... didn't have quite the negative connotation it does nowadays, but whatever. So, use arrow keys to select the volume that you want. Note that only volume 1 is distributed with the software. The others can be purchased upon registration. Okay, so, whoa! Each volume has 250 puzzles. That's a lot to give away with a Shareware copy. Okay then. And also found that the name of the person who made this is Don Dow. So let's see what Don Dow has given us here. So Cryptomania version 2.0. Software is registered and protected with the US Copyright Office. Start. What happens if we say no? Okay, we just get booted back to DOS prompt. Okay, so yes, we'll start. We only have access to volume 1. If we pick another one, it's probably going to say, nope, not on our disk. Oh wait, there's a code? Huh. Wonder what that code is for. Like, I mean, it's clearly not like a registration code thing. Or maybe it is, I don't know. Anyways, volume 1. So, okay, so it's giving us puzzle number 1 of 250. Like, is there a way to have it choose like a puzzle at random or something? Okay, so if you want to skip ahead puzzles, what you have to do is you have to actually quit the puzzle and then start the volume again, and it goes forwards to the next one. Now I'm kind of curious, if I quit the program and go back in. Okay, so it's actually saving your position through all of this. That's weird. So you can't really move around to whichever puzzles you want to. You just sort of have to go with what it gives you. And if you decide to skip something, you don't get a chance to go back to it. Like, maybe it'll wrap around eventually, but there's 250 of these. Okay, so we clearly have a quote here of some kind with a lot of 2-letter words in here. That's interesting, because that might actually help figure out like what's going on with all of this. See, I've explained before, oftentimes the best way to get a start with a puzzle like this is to try and identify words that, or things that could only be like certain things. Or sometimes just start typing out words that you think would go somewhere and seeing what the result is. Now we have a single letter here. And that's always a good sign, because whenever it's a single letter, it has to be an A or an I. It can't be an E, it can't be an O, and it can't be a U. So, given the fact that this 3-letter word here starts with the same letter, I'm going to guess that this is an A. So, given what just came up here, I'm now going to guess that this C here is actually an S. But that also, or it could be a T. Ooh. An S or a T. I'm actually going to think it's a T, just because that also appears as the last letter in a 2-letter word here. And given the fact that we've already put the A here, yeah, I'm not as confident that that's going to be an S there. So I kind of makes it seem like this might be 2. Maybe? Well, one thing we can bring up here is a frequency chart. So that shows us which letters seem to be most common in the puzzle. Now that's interesting that Q shows up a lot, because Q is also the first letter in a 2-letter word here. And also the last letter in a 2-letter word immediately following. So I've got a funny feeling E is probably going to be... what letter is E going to be? Okay, one thing I've noticed here in trying to get these letters to form up is that I removed a lot of the letters that I've already tried to put in, because I noticed that this 2-letter word here, the first letter in that one affects the last letter in this 2-letter word, which has to start with either an A or an I. And that in either of those cases, whatever letter ended the first 2-letter word has to end this one way over here, which starts with a completely different letter. So that means we have a 2-letter word which shares the same second letter, but can have a different first letter, which also ends up being the second letter of a 2-letter word that starts with A or I. I know that sounds a little complicated there, but it means that there's very few possibilities that could actually work for that. So I just got to figure out what those are. Okay, I think this A, this S, and this O are correct. Just because of how those 2-letter words linked up. And then that means for this one here, it's got to end with an O, so it could be 2, it could be no, can't be so because we started with that. Ooh, and look at this. There's another 2-letter word here and here, which also has to be the final letter to something that has an O at the end. I think Q is T. Ooh. I just noticed something here. So the X here is probably an H. A is probably E. Am I getting somewhere here? Actually, I think I'm figuring this out. So this word down here should actually be should. This should be a... oh wait, it can't be a D, because that changes things around, doesn't it? Ooh. I thought I was onto something, but it doesn't look like I was. Unless that's a T. And the I goes there. This doesn't seem completely right. Wait a minute. This word here might be determined. I think we're almost here. Okay, my voice cracked for a moment. Okay, so that should be a C up there. So long as a man imagines that he cannot do this or that, so long as he determined not to do it, and consequently, so long as it impossible to him that he should do it. And I'm still missing a letter. Hey, I got it. And now it's playing some music at me. Why do I feel like I'm suddenly playing Wheel of Fortune? Because the original Wheel of Fortune on DOS played the same tune. Oh geez, even if... oh wait, there it goes. It actually kept playing for a bit before it stopped there. So anyways, that was Cryptomania. Another one of these cryptographic puzzle things. This one plays okay. I do like that you can get the frequency chart there. There's also a used letterboard. I didn't have that up, but that's something you can bring up as well. And you can just grab the solution if you want it. But yeah, these kinds of puzzles are fun. So, and 250 for free with even more volumes, each with another 250 for $15. So I would say that if these are the kinds of puzzles that you really like, then $15 is definitely a very cheap price to get a ton of them. Next up from Yarmoranta, we've got WINGAMES /GG/Racetrack. You know, I think I know what game this might actually be. Let's see here, Racetrack. So we got a help file, we got a MIDI file, some sound effects. Yeah, I think I know it. I think I'm pretty sure I've played this before. What's the README say? Racetrack 1.0 is a Windows shareware version of the classic Swiss racing simulation game, not an arcade game, but just as exciting. Requires thinking rather than reflexes, good example of a game based on simple rules that models the real world with amazing accuracy. Design and build your own tracks and share them with a friend, race against a friend, or the ghost of the track champion, challenge but fun. Okay, so, and yes, it has MIDI background music. We'll see if that works. And apparently this is made by a Steve Neely. So what's the help file say? So we got a registration fee on this, and the registration fee is apparently $10. So there's actually a lot of instructions here in terms of how everything works, as well as making your own tracks and stuff. But if I'm remembering correctly, this basically, it plays a lot like a particular racing board game that I remember, where you kind of have acceleration to your vehicle, and that determines where you're allowed to move based on how you're accelerating or braking. So I think that's how this, let's just run it, see where we end up. So, racing game for the thinking person. Okay. So, center screen, not resizable. And we've got 3 tracks to begin with. So, let's just pick one. Yeah, I've played this before. Okay, so let's do race red versus the clock. Oh, and there's our MIDI music. Wait, what? I have a funny feeling the MIDI music wasn't working perfectly, but whatever. Let's actually play this. Okay, so the way this works is you click on a square, and then you move to it, and then depending on where you clicked, depends on where you're allowed to move next. Because the game's sort of keeping track of how fast you're moving. So, like, if I clicked here, then we're still at the same speed. But if I click here, we're now suddenly moving even faster. Why does this music sound familiar for some reason? This didn't click to me as a kid, but yeah, there was something about that music that seemed familiar, and I'm not sure exactly what. So anyways, now we're going to take this corner here, and I've got a funny feeling I'm not going to get it right, so I better start making that turn. I'm slowing down a bit as I'm making it. Oh, no. Oh, wait, I survived. Okay, didn't quite get that corner very well, but... And I do like that it keeps track of the path you're taking, as well as each individual move. I might be holding this corner here a little too tight, but... I'm trying to, like, just actually survive this. The music is still doing weird effects there. I'm not entirely certain if it's playing right. But hey, I actually made it across the finish line. So the previous track champion was Patrick Neely racing blue in 50 plus 2.24 moves plus cells. So what's the score I got? Here we go. Oh. Well, okay, so there's a track champion thing. So 41 plus 2.83. So I actually did fairly well then, I guess. Unless 50 is just like a default of some kind. So yeah, there's no AI in the game, but you can race against the track champion, which means it's going to move red, which means I gotta play as blue. So let's see if I can actually do even better. And I suspect not, but we'll see how this goes. I think I'm going to... Yep. So if you crash out, it basically just stops you in your tracks. Now you have to re-accelerate in whichever direction you feel is appropriate. I forget exactly how it counts against you, but I know it does. Yeah, so because we didn't make it through the track cleanly, we're not allowed to make a score for that. Otherwise, we would have beaten our previous score, but yeah, not quite. Now let's just see what some of these other tracks look like. We've got, how do I choose a track again? Oh, that's weird. You actually have to save the track champion status, or else it loses it? Huh. That's kind of weird that you're overwriting the existing track in order to save, like, the champion status and everything. You'd think it would, like, save that separately. So we've also got an RT maze here, which, that doesn't look like a racetrack. It looks like somebody just scribbled a bunch of lines in a paint program. Okay, what about RT Tough? Let's see what this one looks like. Ooh. So this one actually incorporates different kinds of track features on it. And it's definitely... Yeah, this track looks like it would... This track looks devastating. Yeah. So yeah, that was Racetrack. It's kind of an interesting take on like a board game... a board game racing game. I think I definitely prefer the... Ow, jeez. Yeah, this track is deadly. I definitely more so prefer the origins that this game's taking after, because I have played the board game that this is based off of. And that particular board game, you have like different dice for different gears and stuff. And I can't shake the feeling that I've heard that music from somewhere before. If anybody has any ideas, feel free to comment on it. Huh. And our last dig for today from James Dunn is DOSGAMES /PB/FINTO. Kind of like Pinto, but wrong. Oh, it's a it's probably a pinball construction set, pinball table. Although we've got a batch file for whatever reason, as well as an order form? What? Okay, maybe it's not a PCS table. The date would kind of lend itself to that. And then we got two readmes, which are not exactly the same, but maybe are. This is weird. Okay, let's type go.bat. What does that do? So first it types out the read first, then the readme, then the order form, and then doesn't run the game. Okay. Let's just edit these things. So it wants the first. So let's do readme.first. So the readme.first is empty? What? Oh, it's just read.first. Never mind. So you just downloaded a fun pinball game designed by Joe Henderson using the Pinball Construction Set, as we guessed. Joe has created several volumes of pinball games. Each volume is available for the low cost of $5 each from Joe. Okay. So yeah, this is one of the things that sometimes happens with any kind of program where you can design your own thing, is that people will try to sell what they create. The thing is, though, is that when the program itself is the selling point, and a lot of people understand how to use it and make stuff with it, it becomes difficult to sell things made with it. Like, even with ZZT and Megazooks, people tried to sell the games that they had made with those. Not to any great success, either. Because in those cases, you actually needed ZZT and Megazooks to play the games, so that added another layer of complication on top of that. And even though Pinball Construction Set was able to create its own standalone COM files, so people didn't need to buy PCS to play these tables, you still didn't hear much about people trying to sell the tables they made with them. Not that clearly it happened, but that was not a common thing, that's for sure. And the README file here is just simply controls on how to play the game, and the order form is just listing more of the tables. I wonder if we actually encountered any of these. Like in the shareware that we've been digging up here. I don't think so, but it's hard to remember. Anyways, so we've got a PCS table, so let's see how it plays. FINTO. Oh, it's just a giant advertisement table. Oh, that's hilarious. I'm actually not 100% certain if real-life pinball tables exist specifically as an advertising gimmick. Oh, right, the cycles are through the roof. Give me a second here. Like, that's weird that he's actually hidden certain obstacles, like, in the playfield here, using the graphics to obscure them. Yeah, this is, I'm really not 100% certain what to say on this. Like, I mean, as far as PCS tables go, it seems to be playing okay. The distance between the flippers seems fine. The angle the balls moving at. Well, until it did that just now. Oh, I can't say oh, what? That was interesting. I've never seen a PCS table do that before. So, there's that up thing there at the bottom. Like, I mean, when the ball went down the shooter lane at the side there, I thought it was just gonna end up draining, because normally you put the... yeah, that thing, arrow there that says up is actually a slingshot of sorts. Because you see how at the side there's that thing that's keeping the ball going back into the shooter stuff. Normally you put that up top, so that it blocks the ball from going in no matter what. But here it's been designed so that the ball can go in, and now instead, you've got that little up shooter at the bottom there that just slingshots the ball back into play if it goes down there. That's very interesting. I've never seen... I don't even think I've seen a real pinball... Like, watch what's about to happen. Yeah. I don't think I've seen even a real pinball table do that. Okay, so that was the FINTO Software PCS pinball table, which has some really unusual designs to it, but, you know, it actually plays okay. I just noticed the score is just skyrocketing, though. So, maybe it's, well, it's definitely high scoring. Scores like that. But yeah, apart from the fact that a lot of elements of this table are, like, hidden by the graphics, that's not something I like, but, you know, it's playing fine, so, yeah. Like, maybe it would... I'm just trying to think if I would actually spend money on more tables from this person. But, maybe he had some level of success, because he's clearly got the advertising part down.